everybody, my name is Linda. I garden in a 10-foot by 20-foot terrace here in Brooklyn. I'm in Bed-Stuy, and I'm going to show you my garden. Things to know about my garden. I'm the 3rd floor of an apartment building, so it's about like it's a townhouse building. There's 3 other apartments, and I'm on the top floor, which means I have this terrace, which is really amazing. I do rent as well, and I feel like as a renter, I do have to be really conscious about my space. I'm a landlord, and a lot of my decisions as a gardener a lot of those decisions have to be made because I'm a renter. I have to basically, in case I have to leave and stuff like that, I have to be able to move everything and everything. I feel like if I didn't rent, I would have just have like raised beds and all these things growing. So I have to be very conscious of that. So yeah, but I'll talk a lot more about that as well. Actually, one thing I wanted to mention is that this is a south-facing terrace. So even though it is south-facing though, which is great, I do have like 2 apartment buildings on either side. So there is kind of like limited space where I do get a little bit of western sun, I do get a little bit eastern sun, but most of it is south. So I wouldn't really say it's like full sun, but I definitely still get my fair amount of sun. Okay, so let's start here. This is definitely like my flower corner here, where I try to grow as many of the flowers that I really, really love, especially since I have a small space. You can definitely see that these are the ones that I love the most. And definitely the plant that I love the most is Gomphrena. You could call this my little Gomphrena meadow, I guess you could say, because right now it is mid-July, so things are definitely starting to pick up, but probably in August this is just going to be like a huge mound of like red and pink. The varieties that I'm growing are Strawberry Fields and Carmine. I got those from Johnny Seed, and I feel like Johnny Seed is like the best to get my Gomphrena. So another reason why I choose Gomphrena specifically for like my cut flowers is I also like to dry flowers, and I feel like having my small space, like I want to make sure that I'm growing flowers that I can also dry and then enjoy that in the wintertime. Yeah, I really can't wait for this to be like a show of color. And then here's my dahlia. So I did get this from Mari. She was really kind enough to give me a tuber. I think it's the Crazy Legs dahlia. Unfortunately, it's not blooming yet. I feel like it had some disease, and then I was getting really paranoid and like cutting everything. And but now I'm just letting it grow, and I really hope it gives me some blooms. I actually handmade this trellis for it to grow up. It looks kind of aged now, which is kind of cool.
That's really cool. I really like the trellis.
Yeah. It kind of like I was saying before, like it looks like a vining rose and stuff like that. So it's still pretty. If it doesn't bloom, it's still pretty, right? Yeah. So the other flowers that I feel like I focus a lot on are my straw flowers. So this is a straw flower variety called apricot peach mix. And I bought this also from Johnny Seeds. I grew straw flowers for the first time last year, and just not really expecting them to do that great. I was like, oh, what's straw flowers? Oh yeah, they're good for drying. But I just love them so much. I think they're so great because they don't get that many diseases. I mean, they get like some stuff, but they're just super drought tolerant, especially for containers. Like I don't have to worry about watering and everything like that. Same with Gomphrena. Like the main reason why I choose Gomphrena and straw flowers is just because like they could just go through a drought. They totally fine in containers. Like I don't have to overwater them. They actually don't really want that much water, so they're just perfect for me, and I love them. So this year I decided to like give kind of like the main attraction to my apricot peach straw flowers, and I just love like all the little flowers, and they're kind of really starting to come in, which is really nice. And I really like how like they all come out like kind of different, which is great. Love how the apricot peach like complement the colors. Like this is like carmine and red, and then I have a lot of like pinks, and I love that like peachy coral color. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna grow them again next year. They're just great. Sometimes I think about like getting another color, but I'm like apricot peach is just like the best. So then I've been experimenting with a couple other flowers this year, like understanding like what grows well in containers, because yeah, in terms of my containers, you can see that I have a lot of terracotta pots, and I have a lot of like 12-inch terracotta pots or 14-inch terracotta pots. But then I also have these 5-gallon grow bags, which are about like 12 inches in diameter. I think that's like about like the main size of everything in my garden. So also making sure that the things I have can grow, in that 12-inch 5-gallon container size. But I also have my 10-gallon containers. And my 10-gallon containers, I only have 5 10-gallon containers, and that's like the biggest size containers that I have, because yeah, mainly because, like, probably because of the weight on the deck. I don't want to like put too much soil weight. I don't really want to know about the soil, like the deck capacity of how much weight I can put on the deck. So, and so far that's been really good. So everything I feel like should hopefully fit in those container sizes. So aside from my straw flowers and my Godfrida, which are definitely like my center stage, like I love those flowers so much that I want to give them the most space possible. I've been experimenting with some flowers this year. I've definitely been trying to give my zinnias a chance. I grew zinnias last year and I did not really grow the right varieties, and so this year I got Benary's Giant Coral, I believe this is. And I'm really hoping it doesn't get powdery mildew. I feel like a lot of people have so much luck, you know, growing zinnias, and I feel like here we just get so much powdery mildew. So I'm trying to give zinnias a chance. I know people love zinnias, but so hopefully this guy does well. But it's like super pink though. I don't know why. It's like almost like a bubblegum pink, even though it's supposed to be coral. So it's kind of funny that the one zinnia that I got turned out that way. So yeah, other than my one zinnia, I did buy an echinacea. I've had a lot of echinacea FOMO this year, just seeing everybody's echinacea go crazy. And so I actually got this in a July 4th sale. This was like, I told myself this was the last plant I was gonna get, but then I was like, I saw that and I was like, I have to get it. So I bought this. I think it's the Cheyenne Spirit, that's what it said. And I don't really know what this echinacea like wants to be. I actually got it when it had these blooms on it, and then now it's giving me orange and kind of like this cream orange color, but you know, I'm feeling it. So
They're beautiful.
So yeah, so I love my echinacea. It's not, I didn't really buy it for the pollinators, even though it's like native, but yeah, but speaking of pollinators, this Verbena bonariensis that I bought, I actually didn't start this from seed because I kind of feel like I could have started from seed. I did buy this as a big plant, because that's why I feel like it's so big and it's so bushy, because they probably like cut it back a lot, because a lot of the Verbena I see are just like massive. But it's called Buenos Aires, and I just love it so much. And the bees, like, this is the one plant that the pollinators are absolutely obsessed with. I have like 1 or 2 little bumblebees that come, just like 1 or 2, which is fine, and I feel like I have my bumblebee friend that comes and he's always on this plant, and I just love like seeing him come, and you know, we just like hang out and stuff like that while I'm on the hammock. So yeah, I feel like I think I'm kind of like obsessed with these like pom-pom shapes, like the same with the Gomfrina, and I just love how they're just these little like clusters of little flowers, little pom-pom flowers, and it has that airy feel, and I think the Gomfrina too, it's like also that airy feel too, so I love. Yeah. Like when you find that plant you love, you just like, I want this, you know, like I want all this plant. Yeah. So that's like my little flower area. And then we go into the vegetables. I would say this year I went a little tomato crazy. I was only planning on growing like 2 tomatoes, because I feel like in a small space I can really only grow cherry tomatoes. But this year I definitely experimented a lot more with tomatoes. And aside from my big tomatoes, I did want to mention my little tiny Tim tomato, which like, this is only, oh my god, there's actually some mushrooms growing in there, but
it's a good sign.
This is only I think like a 9-inch pot, and like it's doing totally fine, and it's putting out these like massive tomatoes. So this is a tiny Tim variety. I think I got it from Hudson Valley Seed, and it was an experiment to see like what would micro dwarf tomatoes do, because I feel like I probably should do micro dwarf tomatoes, you know, living in a garden, this kind of space, but and they're doing really great. So I have them like, I have those just like splattered around everywhere. This is the one that's actually doing pretty well, because it's actually ripening. So so I have another one here. This is like a succession planting of the tiny Tim, so that like I have more. They're just kind of like dotted around. And then this is a tomato. This is a large tomato that I got from a garden friend, Aubrey, right?
Oh yeah.
She gave me, I think this is a Canestrino, which is really nice. I feel like that's another reason why I wasn't planning on growing tomatoes, and then through our kitchen garden club, all of a sudden, you know, everybody's giving us plants and stuff like that, and I'm like, well, I gotta plant the tomatoes. So, but they're doing great. They're doing amazing. The other tomato I have, this is called the Tundra tomato. I also got this from a garden friend, Kira. She grew this for me, and this is actually called part of like the dwarf tomato project, I think.
It's so big.
It's really big, actually. The only problem is that it recently got spider mites, which is like what happens, you know, in July. This is just what happens. And I feel like there's always like the one tomato plant that spider mites choose. And I just feel like, so I actually just removed so many of the leaves, but this was like a huge bush at one point. So I think it'll be fine. And it's probably good for the plant that has less leaves, but it's really nice. It's perfect. It's not really dwarf at all. I mean, it's like, it's big. So, but I think it's just more like those tomatoes grow compact, and that's just what makes them really ideal probably for growing. And yeah, so these tomatoes are in 10-gallon grow bags, which do pretty good for me. I know some people say like, oh, you know, only 15, you know, at least 15.
I grow mine in 5.
Yeah,
sometimes
right?
7. Yeah.
I feel like especially because I'm on a terrace, like I don't want my tomatoes to be like 5 feet wide and like huge, you know. You just gotta do, I guess, what you can do, and I think 10 gallons is just like the perfect size for me, where like I feel like they're manageable, you know. So then here are my peppers that are in front of them. This is your poblano.
Oh.
You gave this to me. It's doing okay. I feel like I harvested like the first ones it gave me.
Oh, you already harvested? Mine
Yeah.
is just producing now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it took
Yeah.
forever. These jalapenos are going crazy.
Yeah. So I feel like once I like harvest those ones, they're just gonna start like popping off. So this is my first year growing peppers. I feel like I was like really nervous about growing peppers because I thought they would need like way too much heat and stuff like that, you know. And but now I'm gonna try them, so I'm excited. You know, now I have like a lot of peppers. I'm probably gonna have a lot of peppers.
Yeah, peppers are actually easier than we think. I think.
Yeah,
sometimes.
right. They are. They actually are. They take a
Easier
while.
than tomatoes.
I think they take a while, and then they go crazy. But and yeah, this is a green pepper I have, and this one's like going really tall, and hopefully it'll give me peppers. I feel like it gave me one big one, and I harvested, and now I'm like, okay, like give me more peppers. So we'll see how like the big. I know that like probably giving small containers and not that much sun. That might be maybe for like. Yeah, container gardening, maybe having like a big bell pepper is not ideal. So we'll see. We'll give it a test. So yeah. Oh yeah, and then this is like a little. It's called the chiltepine pepper. I'm growing this for my husband because he's from the north of Mexico, and this is like his pepper plant. So I have to keep this alive for him and hopefully give him his favorite chili pepper. So we'll see how that goes. And then I have my tomatoes that are growing here. So this was actually supposed to be a blush cherry tomato, but Aubrey gave it to me, and I guess it had like when she collected the seeds, it probably cross-pollinated with it. So I actually don't even know what that's gonna be. It smells like it's a blush tomato. Like the plant smells like it's like a pineapple smell. It's like the sweetest smelling tomato plant ever. But they're giving me like large tomatoes, so we might have like a pretty cool tomato growing here. I don't know. So we'll see how that goes. And then here is a new experiment that I'm growing. I have my tomatoes here because basically, you know, I have these fences here, so I'm able to grow like my tomatoes. I'm able to grow the tomatoes like along this whole area here, which is great. And it actually kind of acts as like privacy a little bit. And so I don't have to worry about a huge trellis system, and it worked really well. So, so this is a tomatillo plant that I have here. I started this from seed. I started a lot of these actually from seed. I didn't even mention that, but I started this from seed, only thinking that I needed one tomatillo plant, and then I kept like going on Reddit and realizing that I need 2 tomatillo plants. And I started freaking out, and hopefully I don't see a tomatillo growing at all here yet. I'm also growing
They're gonna come. There's a lot of flowers.
They'll come, right? I heard they take
They're
kind of
later.
a while. Yeah. Right? They take later. But this was definitely like a request from my husband that he wanted, you know, to have some green salsa. So I feel like I gotta give him some tomatillos and see how that goes. So, but I was really threatening to get rid of it at one point because I'm like, having a small space, you want to make sure you're having plants that are working well for you and they're not going to be like a huge bush. So I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna see if the tomatillos work. You know. So yeah, this is this half of the garden. Yeah, one thing I forgot to mention too, the hammock. So you can see that the hammock is kind of like the divider, you would say, of the garden. And a lot of the plants I have to position a little bit in terms of like the height, so that the hammock also still fits, because this hammock is gold here. Like I love this hammock so much. Like definitely like in the May, June months, I feel like I could be out here all the time. So we're so happy that we were able to make the hammock work. And like, yeah, we were able to put it on the railings, and it's strong enough. So, so yeah, the hammock has to always be here. Has to always stay. So yeah, so this, I guess like the big difference between this and this is probably like here is where I have all my blueberries and all my raspberries and strawberries and my blackberries. So this was definitely the berry corner, and actually growing blueberries was the main reason why I even started gardening in the first place. I think my friend told me like I really wanted blueberries and I love blueberries so much. My friend was like, you can grow your own blueberries. And I was like, wait, what? Like I can grow my own blueberries? And she's like, yes, you can. So I bought, this is my first plant that I ever bought. Yeah, this is my first plant I ever bought. This is called the Legacy Blueberry. And then I actually bought, right after that, I bought the Patriot Blueberry. And then I bought the Duke. So this was all like, I just went crazy and I bought these 3 blueberries. And it just so happens that, this was completely by accident, but it just so happens that these actually all flower and fruit at different times, which is like exactly what you want when you're getting blueberries. So the Duke flowers like pretty early. There's actually no blueberries on it at all anymore. And then the Patriot flowers like next and produces berries. So this is kind of like right on the tail end. And then now the Legacy Blueberry is just like exploded with fruit to the point where like these are actually like weighing down the plant, and we get a lot of wind here because we're up top, and I've actually come out and this entire blueberry plant is on the floor, which was kind of really stressful, but it's fine. It's really fine. So actually probably when I finish harvesting all these, I'm gonna have to cut this, which is kind of sad, but that's a problem with having a small space. I mean, I'm already just totally blessed that these 3 blueberry plants are doing so well. I actually probably need to start putting more iron, like actually amending it with iron, because they are in small containers, and you can already see that there's some iron deficiency happening here. Because
how do you tell?
This is the iron deficiency, like where you can see like the veins. Like the veins are dark.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah,
I have some of my plants too.
That's really what it is. It's not that bad. It's like you can see it more. I mean, it's also the young leaves, but so maybe they will grow out of it. We will see. But this is kind of like a sign where I'm like I need to put it on there just in case, because I don't want to have a big huge like iron deficiency problem. That's like really bad for blueberries.
And what do you use for that?
like literally just iron spray, like a spray iron. Just like a general iron deficiency. You can also do soil acidifier, but that just like takes a lot longer to set it. That's like a 3 to 6 month kind of thing where it will go into effect. So because these are in really small pots. I've been told by like my friends upstate who grow blueberries in the ground, they're like, Linda, these pots are so small. Yes, they're not in like the 20 inch or massive wine barrel like kind of containers that a lot of people say, but
they're doing very good.
They've been doing good.
Yeah, I would be very happy to have one. Oh, look at the amount of blueberries on this. For 2 people.
Yeah,
that's definitely. Yeah.
Like I have plenty of blueberries. Like I'm just like eating blueberries just because why not, for snacks? Like it's great. I might maybe these I might actually freeze them, because like that's really great to obviously not have have blueberries in the wintertime. But so this is in a 16-inch container, which is probably why it's actually probably really happy, because it's in the largest, and then these other ones are in 14-inch containers. And I do think that one of these I might actually get bigger containers for these, because I think they might start showing stress. Like a lot of these blueberries didn't form, and that's probably because it was in too small of a container. So I'm really happy about them. But these are all.
How old are these plants?
They're probably like, I think they're probably like 3 to 4, maybe even 5 years old when I got them. I would say like this one was probably 3 years when I got it, and now it's been 2 years, so like it's definitely the biggest one. These were probably like all in like 2 to 3 gallon pots when I brought them, which I think that's like the 3 to 5 year stage. So they were mature. I just felt like I had to get the mature ones, and it was a risk, but they are happy.
But why is it a risk?
Well, it's a risk because like if you buy like a really mature blueberry plant and then you bring it to like a totally different environment, like sometimes like they just die, and so I feel like I've heard some people on the internet say that that's what happens. But so far everything has been really good. That's my blueberries. Because if something happened to them, that'd be really sad. But
yeah, you need to teach us everything about it because I don't grow blueberries, but I love to, and it looks amazing.
I mean, one thing too that I've noticed, like, so these are super hardy plants. So these are not like any like super fancy like varieties or like container, you know, varieties. Like these are like the Duke and Patriot are pretty hardy. Like those are pretty hardy, like your typical hardy like high bush blueberry varieties. And I feel like because they're so hardy like that, like they're doing well. This one is actually, this is a high bush, but I feel like it was kind of when I researched legacy, I think it's like a little bit like bred to also be tolerated of warmer climates. But so far it's also been like pretty hardy. But I feel like that's like my only thing that like I feel like getting really hardy blueberries, just sticking to the high bush like blueberries, like that's just the way to go instead of like going like to these like fancy container varieties if you have the space, obviously. You know, so yeah, these are my pride and joys, I would say. So yeah, oh yeah, and then I guess like in this corner, I have some chives. So I've been putting these like these window boxes here, and I have these chives. I grew these from seed, and now I have like so many chives that I don't know what to do with. And then this is a gaillardia, it's called the blanket flower, and this is just for the pollinators, and they come here to hang out. So. It's doing okay. It's got like it's going to do like a second flush of flowers. It was like covered in flowers, and now it's like going to reflush. So yeah, and then here in front of here, I would say this area gets like it gets sun, but it's more like it gets like more the morning sun, and then it gets a lot of the western sun, and then but like kind of during the day it is blocked by this tree, so which is good. I think actually like the blueberries kind of like that. I think they kind of like that they're not getting that like intense like midday sun. This area gets the most sun, like right here, and that's probably why like I wanted to put my tomatoes here. But everything's doing okay. But that's why I put the kale here, so that like it's not being like blasted by sun, so it's doing pretty well, and it likes being in an area where it's like slightly shaded by the blueberries. And then I have this calendula, which I feel like.
Too hot for them.
It's right. It's just too hot for them, right? Like,
none of them are flowering now. Good now. They prefer the cooler weather.
Yeah, it was doing so wonderfully, and then I guess now it's got all these pests, which I feel like that means that it's doing its job, right? Like attracting all the pests. Like I don't know, but maybe. But
also because I feel they struggle. You know, when it gets too hot, they start to struggle, so they get weak, and the pests go target them because it's a weaker plant. But they are wonderful in the winter, and they're so hardy, and they bloom so beautifully early in the spring or even late in the fall. Sometimes through the winter, but mine is all like that too. I always get this little white stuff that I don't know if it's like spider mites or maybe trips, I heard. But mine looks exactly like every time, exactly. And it's nice. I mean, this was actually supposed to be like, it was like the zeolites from Botanical Interest, and it was supposed to be like all like pink and the pink variety, and then it came out like like this. It's nice, you know. It will turn pink. See, like if you grow, let's say it's super hardy.
Yeah.
So if you let's say seed it now in the fall to bring it for them to overwinter in the spring, they're gonna bloom the first like super early, and they come like full and doubled and pink and coffee and then once it gets hot, they start sending the spindly flowers. I do the same thing with mine. It looks the same. I have a similar variety, which is the Bronze Beauty, which is very similar to zeolites, and they'll be okay even if you cut them down and then wait till the fall. It looks like this, but the same plant's gonna give you much nicer flowers. Is that the first time you grow them?
Yeah, this is my first time growing them. You know? Like this is all like the new experiment. So, but you know, we'll see.
They'll get there. They're gonna get beautiful flowers too.
I know. I love it. No, it's good. Everything's like all my flowers are a little too pink and like vibrant. So this is good that like I have something a bit more like creamy colored, you know. But so my kale, I like lacinato. That's like my favorite kale. So I just went with like the variety that I know that I'm going to eat the most, and you know, it gives me some kale. It's not like I'm not like overloaded with kale. Sometimes I go to these sometimes I see people's kales and they're just like massive. I'm like, but it's probably because it's in a 5-gallon container, but you know, it's doing its job. It's helping me not have to spend like $8 at the bodega for like a.
It's so expensive nowadays.
So this is one of my strawberries. I actually have 4 strawberry plants.
Ooh, so healthy.
Yeah, they're doing really good. Actually, I actually have like a big strawberry right there, which is so
Linda!
big. I know, right?
Oh my gosh, it's the biggest I've seen.
Yeah. It's
From
so
everybody's
big,
source.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to, I can't see it. So, oh my
It's
god.
so big, right?
Do you know the variety of this one?
Oh my god,
It looks
I don't
juicy
remember
and
anymore.
delicious.
I wish I could, yeah. I
Well,
have a tag somewhere.
if it makes runners,
I know.
you're probably gonna want other
Yeah.
runners for yourself.
I know. Well, it's weird. It doesn't make runners. That's what's so weird about it. Like, I don't see any runners. I haven't seen a single runner on this plant. So I think it's like a variety that just got runners. Yeah, this is another guy. This is doing so weird. It's like it's growing slanted, but I kind of like it because I can just like put the pot over here and just have it like grow as interest. So I think I'm actually gonna do this now for the rest of my yeah. So I grew all these from seed. I grew these doing winter sowing, and straw flowers are super easy to grow winter sowing because they're actually pretty cold tolerant. Like they actually don't mind germinating in cooler temperatures. So
when did you start your winter sowing experiment? Because you did pretty good. You had success with a lot of things, right?
I had success with a lot. I did winter sowing, for straw flowers. I started that in February, probably like right early February, and they germinated like within like 2 weeks, super fast. So, and they were doing so well. They were growing super well. So, I feel like sometimes you see online they say like start 6 weeks before your last frost, and I'm like no, like
a lot sooner.
Yeah,
That's great to know. I'm gonna totally take that advice for next year because and I also noticed that when they grow cold, they get a lot taller.
Yeah.
Then when I start later, they get a lot taller and more bushy and.
So so I winter sowed a lot of plants. Like the kale, bok choy. I do a lot of winter sowing because I don't have a grow light set up, and like I feel like this is such a small space. Like I don't need to have a huge grow light set up in my apartment. I don't really have that much space in my apartment too. So winter sowing has been great to start my seeds really. I even started my tomatoes I think too in winter sowing. So you can start anything. So this is your patio baby eggplant that you gave me.
Did you like it? I saw you harvested it.
I love it. Yeah,
I
harvested. I had some issues with this guy because it had spider mites, and I got super paranoid about my spider mites because I had a big issue with spider mites last year, and so I started spraying it with neem oil, and actually it kind of damaged the leaves. The neem oil damaged the leaves, so I feel like it kind of got stunted for a while, and then now it's like flushing out new growth. I'm just like, I'm just gonna let it be. But it's great. Now it has so many little guys popping up. So, and I harvested 2. So we'll see. Little patio baby. And then this is the other dahlia that I have that you gave me. You gave me this tuber, and it is putting out a bud. So this was actually a dahlia that like was kind of like I only just planted this like a week ago because I just wasn't even sure.
Great. Yeah.
But it was blue because I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna have space for it. Maybe I'll put it downstairs, and then it started blooming, and I'm like, okay, I'll give you space.
You see the bird, like you stay here. She wanted to be with you.
Like I'll make sure you live. I'll make sure you live.
She's doing great. Looks healthy.
She's doing great. So my other berries, other than my blueberries, I have this thornless blackberry. So this is called a Marion berry. It was developed, I believe, in Washington or maybe Oregon. Anyways, it was developed in the Northwest, and it's thornless, which is amazing, and it produces these like the best blackberries. This year it was actually growing like up along this vine here, and it was really great. But I had to take it down recently because all the blackberries are gone, and I had so many blackberries, amazing. But I think the problem was that the blackberries, there were so many blackberries ripening that it kind of struggled because it's in this small container. It's in the 16-gallon container, and I feel like now it's only producing like 3 vines. So I had to, it was putting like too much energy in ripening all the fruit, but then not enough energy in making the new vines. So I'm really hoping it'll hang on. Like it's kind of not really as bushy as it was last year.
And you cut it down?
And because you have to cut down the old once the vines that are fruiting are done, you cut them down so that the new vines can come up, and then these vines will fruit next year. So it's kind of like this like process of like cutting down and all that kind of stuff. But I think I'm definitely I think this is the only one where I'm like, maybe containers like this probably needs like a 20-gallon container because it's probably I have to water this like every 2 days, like deep, give it a lot of water. So
this is a 16, you said?
This is a 16
so
inch.
You would recommend 20
I feel
if you wanted
it
to.
needs like a 20 inch for sure. Because I think blackberries are pretty, they're pretty vigorous, So this will grow like along this whole fence and everything like that. So which is great. And then this is called the shortcake bushel and berry. Like this is actually a dwarf raspberry, and it's the only like dwarf like berry plant I have, and you know it's doing good. It gave me a lot of raspberries, and to make sure to contain the space of it, whenever it's done fruiting, I just cut it off. So I'm actually probably like gonna harvest these 2 here, and then just like cut it off, and then all these like new shoots will just come out, you know. But there's a lot of new shoots. I could have like plenty of them, you know. So
you have so much knowledge about berries. It's very nice.
I love berries. I feel like berries are the main thing, you know. That's like one thing that I have a property upstate. We bought some land in 2020, and that's kind of like the eventual goal that I'll have a big garden up there. We're currently building a cabin up there, and yeah, I'm gonna have like a huge berry farm. That's my goal, because I love berries. Are probably my favorite thing to grow for sure. Yeah, so I have some other strawberries here. So these are just in like, this is in the same size terracotta pot, and then I have 2 in like a kind of like a stainless steel or like steel bucket thing. I just really like the look of having strawberries in a bucket. So I put like 2 bowls in there. They're doing okay.
Are they all the same variety? Or
Yeah, they're all the same.
varieties?
This is all the same variety. Yeah, I got like 4 of them, and they're doing great. They didn't really do much the first year, and then the second year, it's good. And then I have some perennial phlox that comes up in May, and I put some bush beans in here.
It's doing good.
I know. Yeah, so I just have like a couple, I just have another little gumfrina in here, which is gonna flower, and then I have one more patio baby, which I did actually put in a 3-gallon grow bag, or maybe it's a 2-gallon. So I'll see how it does. I just didn't have enough space for another 5-gallon. This was also a little bit late of planting, that's why it's a little smaller. Yeah, there's not as many flowers on this side, but like in the springtime, this is like covered in flowers. Like all of this is the first thing to flower in my garden, is all the blueberries, and the bumblebees just go crazy. It was really great. And then also like when these are done flowering, then the blackberry starts flowering, and then the bumblebees just start going to the blackberry. And maybe I'll give you some footage of like what this looked like when it was flowering. It literally looks like a rose, like, you know, vine. But yeah, that's like pretty much this side. So this is definitely where all the stuff happens. But there's a few plants on this side, so I'll show you guys. Yeah, so like this plant, this is
cutest fig tree ever.
This is our big fig tree. I like that it's like flanked on each side of the door, and this is our entrance into the patio. And I feel like soon it's gonna be like a little crowded, but I kind of like that. You know? So yeah, this is our fig tree. So this is called a Chicago hardy fig. So hardy Chicago, like obviously it's hardy to, apparently it's hardy down to zone 5, which I guess the rule of thumb with container gardening is that you always want to go 2 zones lower, especially when you're growing perennials. You always want to go 2 zones lower. So we are zone 7B. So I can grow this outside in this container. It has not died on me, but probably if you were actually like a zone 5, you would probably have to take this inside. So that's what's so great about being zone 7, is that like we can still grow this cold stuff. It grows really well, and it's in this like really nice big thick terracotta pot, and I love it. I love how it's just kind of shrubbed out a little bit.
And how old is this plant?
This one is we got this 2 years ago. So this is definitely like this is the biggest it's gotten. And we have to really start pruning it a lot. You know, same with the blueberries. We have to really start pruning a lot more to keep them like that nice like shrub container. Because this could get huge, obviously. You know that, obviously. Other things. This is my little plant limbo purgatory. All the plants that are like don't really know what to do with, or I'm propagating. Like I'm propagating some mint cuttings that my mom gave me, and I have a bunch of herbs. Parsley, like some leftover chives. This is actually, oh my god, this is so funny. This is actually a blackberry, that part of that blackberry vine I have that actually rooted into another pot. And so then I just took it out, and now it's like I have a new blackberry plant,
awesome.
Which is so cool. I never would have thought that I would be able to propagate it. So.
Do you know what kind of mint this is? The leaf's so cool on this one.
I think this is just the regular spearmint. Yeah, spearmint. There's another gumfrina, some bush beans. Like.
Gotta find them a home.
That's a problem, yeah. Like, I feel like if I lived in a backyard, like all these people, they could be in homes, but I feel like in container gardening, you kind of have your stash of like, let's see if other plants will die, and then and then maybe they'll come and have their own. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But this is the other pepper plant area. I didn't have much space on the other side, so I ended up putting my peppers here. This is the serrano pepper, and then this is the jalapeno pepper, and they're doing super well, producing a lot. Jalapenos, of course, producing so much, and then yeah, I put bush beans. This is like my little trick that I do with my small space, that I put bush beans in the 5-gallon grow bags that have other things growing in them, and they kind of like trail over, almost like they almost look like sweet potato vines, but they which is kind of cool, but they produce beans for me, so definitely like utilizing the space. And then this is my sun gold tomato, my leftover sun gold tomato that I didn't have any space for. It was actually supposed to be on the other side, and my trick is to grow it up the extension cord for the lights, which we'll see how that goes.
That's a great idea.
But maybe I might have to like put some reinforcements, so just like some sticky like reinforcements in there, like put some nails in here to make sure that it, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. But this is kind of like a super last minute thing that I decided. It might be really cool. It might be like grow like all like up here, and maybe it'll like, my dream is just have it grow all along here. So that's kind of cool. I'm doing a succession sowing of zinnias, because I feel like in New York later in the season we don't get powdery mildew, so we'll see how that goes. More chives. That basically chives is like the one herb that I use the most. I love chives, so I feel like once again, like, just grow the thing that you love the most, and that's definitely chives. I didn't mention that I had basil also growing in the tomatoes, so I have basil and chives, and that's all the herbs I need. For sure. This is another blueberry that I have. This is a much younger blueberry. I got it when it was super small, and it definitely needs to be in a bigger pot, so it's doing okay, but not flowering yet. But definitely the downside of getting smaller blueberries, you have to kind of wait. This is called sweetheart variety. And then this is kind of the section of my cactuses and slash Meyer lemon tree. My Meyer lemon tree. So this is sort of like my, warm season stuff. Oh, Lola's right here. Sorry, Lola.
I was wondering what Lola was.
I know, she's right. She's here.
No.
Oh, hi, sweetie. Oh, yeah, she wants to play. Okay, all right. No. Okay, Lola, stay there. So, yeah, these are our cactuses that we have that we bring them inside, and they just love growing outside here. They just love, this is all like Western sun. All this area is all Western sun. So, and yeah, this is all grew while I was outside, which in the last 2 years, which is amazing. So it's obviously like super, super happy. I have my prickly pear. This is the Meyer lemon tree. It's given me some fruits, I do have to bring it inside, and I feel like it was in a big container, but I feel like I was just getting way too many spider mites. So it was just like, I could not deal with all the spider mites, and it gave me like 2 fruit that I would wait 9 months to ripen, which was great. So now I basically just grow it for the flowers, because basically around like January inside, it's just covered with these like amazing smelling flowers. And so yeah, I'm basically just growing it for the flowers at this point. Another cactus, another random cactus that maybe has grown like 2 millimeters in the last year. I don't know.
And tomatoes.
And then tomatoes. So yeah, these are my other dwarf tomatoes. So the same thing, Tiny Tim. So you can see like they're now forming tomatoes. So I'm gonna have like a succession of tomatoes. But I think the Tiny Tim is a determinate. Like I don't think it's gonna produce much afterwards. So definitely doing the succession.
How many weeks apart did you plant them?
I think
Do you remember?
I think like 2 weeks, like 2-3 weeks or something like that. Yeah, like this was a later planting, but they just grew like crazy. Yeah, and then something that I'm trying new this year is I bought these plants. They're called plant traps, and I bought them I just bought 2 just to see, and I just have some like calibrachoas and some parsley in here. Definitely good to like keep things up higher, and so far I'm really liking them. I might buy a few more. They're kind of a little expensive. I think they're like $20 each. So, but I think I might put like a lot more. So we'll see.
That adds a lot to your space if you could actually grow
Yeah,
them
exactly.
suspending.
Especially like herbs and stuff like that, like, or like
Yeah.
all my chives. Like I feel like I can just have all my chives on here. This is more Gonfrina. It's a little behind. I think it's probably because it's not getting that much sun. But this is probably the pink, the light pink, KYS pink variety. So this grows a lot more bushier than the ones that I have in the corner. And then here is my other sun-gold cherry tomato. And this was kind of a last-minute decision, but it's just gonna grow. My plan is to just have it grow like, all along the thing. So just like basically using tomatoes as like my privacy fence. Which maybe that's a little unorthodox, but
that's a great idea.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
They vine and they go crazy, so
no, they grow crazy, and I mean this is probably gonna go like I'm probably gonna get to a point where like the blackberry and
they're gonna meet.
You know. And then I have like some more like indoor plants that I just like succulent cactuses that I bring inside. And then I have oh my god, Lola. She's like playing. And then I have my 2 little calabricas here. So like just to keep things looking pretty.
Is it enough time, Lola? Do we have to? Hey. What do you want to say about the garden?
Thank you guys so much thank you so much for coming and seeing my garden. My little oasis here in the city. I feel like I created. I'm really grateful for this space. It really gives me a lot of joy. So, yeah. Thank you guys so much. So that's one thing that's interesting. The big things don't appear.